From Erie's own Government Access, Channel 9, from the City Hall Council Chambers, it's time once again for the Taxpayers Hotline Show. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host.
Hello, this is Councilman Kaz Kwiatkowski, and it looks like I'm going to be doing the show possibly alone today. Got a call from my friend DJ. He's got some business, and we're expecting another visitor, but maybe he'll show up and maybe he won't. But in the meantime, feel free to call, and the rules are you can talk about anything you want, just keep it in the bounds of good taste. Oop. Go ahead, Taxpayer Hotline. Hello? Oop. Please call back. I goofed up on that one. Gone 1 week and I can't even run the board right. But sorry I cut you off. Just call right back. Once again, the rules are you can talk about anything you want. Just keep it in the bounds of good taste. And here we go. Go ahead, caller. Sorry I cut you off.
Yeah. Hey, how was your Memorial Day?
Pretty good. I was out of town. I went to visit my daughter.
Yeah, that's good.
How was yours?
It was okay. I stayed home.
That's all you did? Stay home?
Yeah. I went out for a little bit because it was nice out.
Yeah, it was a combination of a little cool, but not bad where I was.
Yeah. Hey, you said you'll look at that road on State. I mean, but on 11th from State to Beach there. I'll go there when it's raining. You see the puddles in the road.
What street is that? What'd you say that was?
Between State and Beach.
On what street?
On 11th.
Oh, on 11th. Okay.
Yeah. Between State and Beach.
It's got a lot of potholes, you're saying? A lot of holes?
Well, it seems like it's going in, but I think it needs milled down and redone.
Yeah, I didn't bring my list which streets they're doing. I should have brought it.
Well, I did talk to the mayor's secretary, and she said that ain't on the list.
Okay. Well, keep an eye on it. It's mostly when it rains, right?
Yeah. When it's raining, you can see the puddles in the road.
Yeah, I'll take a look, and then maybe they can. Probably nothing they can do until they really do the whole thing again.
Yeah, I know, but I've been asking you guys for 2 years for that.
I know, but you know what? There's so many streets that need repair. They take the worst ones.
Yeah.
And puddles in the street compared to some of the streets that are really in need of resurfacing, it probably loses out that battle.
Hey, I talked to somebody about, that when it was trying to put a grocery store downtown.
Yeah.
And I talked to Rose. You know where that Isaac Baker and Son there, they used to been right across the street.
Right.
City Hall.
Yeah.
I was talking to a guy on the trolley, the bus driver trolley, and he heard they were going to put a little grocery store in there. But I said, well, why don't they put all these in?
Well, that building belongs to the federal government now, so.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hadn't heard that they were going to put anything in there.
Yeah, I haven't heard that either, but.
Whatever they do, I would think, with all the post 9/11 drama now, I would be surprised if the government would allow a store in one of their buildings like that.
Yeah, I'm surprised they don't try to put all these in downtown.
Well, I'll tell you what's in the one thing I can tell you is that.
Or put a Save-A-Lot downtown.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you where they are studying something like that. When they get the new bus terminal built, the third phase, they're working on phase 2 right now.
Yeah.
When they get to the third phase, that's going to be the part that faces French Street.
Yeah.
There are plans to have a retail component in there, And one of the things they are looking at is
somebody about that.
Yeah, either a grocery store or a farmer's market type arrangement.
Yeah.
And plus the convention center at the GAF site.
Yeah.
They're talking about maybe a farmer's market down there.
Yeah, but you know, I'm really surprised on things, you know, that when I talked to somebody about that before, when a bus terminal, before they even put a grocery store in there, that'd be quite a few years away.
Yeah, well, you know, it's up to what you got to do. Do you shop at Aldi's?
No, because it's on Pittsburgh Avenue.
Do you shop at Save-A-Lot?
Save-A-Lot, once in a while I'll go there.
Well, here's what I advise people to do. Not only do you contact us, and not only do you bug different people in politics.
Yeah.
But when you go into the stores, tell them you want to talk to the manager. You know, if everybody asks them, say, "Hey, have you ever considered putting one downtown? That's where I come from."
Yeah.
You know, sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't.
Right.
You know, they would do it if they think there's a need.
And you know.
And I think you're right though, Tiny. I think if you look at Richford Arms, you look at where you live.
Right.
It probably does warrant a grocery store, but somebody's got to get the companies interested.
Right.
And nothing like consumers are the best guide. If they see there's a need, they will do it.
Yeah, and just like I did call that, like that fish place.
Yeah.
Long John Silver's.
Right.
I called the company itself. What they do, you gotta find a piece of property. If you want to open up a Long John Silver's, you buy their product. A person has to buy a piece of land.
Yeah, so you mean the franchisee has to find the land, right?
Because they have that open land over by between Donamix, and then you got that little White House there.
Yeah.
And you got that open field there.
Right.
Remember I mentioned it before, they should put a Long John Silver's in there, but they say that a person's got to buy the land, and if they want to put a business in for a Long John Silver's, then they'll do that.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do, Tiny. I've been trying to get Mr. Buchner on here from the downtown district, the improvement district.
Yeah.
And when he comes on, I hope people will call and talk to him, because I tell him all the time what I think we need.
Yeah.
And I think he knows that too, but trying to find businesses that are willing to come downtown,
Right.
That's the big, that's why I say everybody can be an ambassador. Like when I go places, I always push the fact that sometimes they used to ask you where you came from. They have like a little card.
Next to the Rite Aid drugstore, there's a vacant place there. And I heard there was a grocery store a while back, but they said people were stealing out of there. So they closed it, and then they had the Salvation Army in there, and they didn't stay in there too long.
No, sometimes that's a problem downtown that, there's a perception and, but I think, there is a need for a grocery store.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not on State Street, maybe it's off, one of the side a little bit.
Right.
But.
And there's even a big open field, on the corner, there's on 10th Street, just past French.
Yeah.
Across from the ballpark, you have that open field there. They could put a grocery store in there too.
I'll tell you where a nice one could go. Years ago, they talked about developing the Boston store, the bottom floor.
Yeah.
And
but they got a brewery in there now.
Yeah, but there's plenty of room down. If you walk down that concourse, there's plenty of room.
Oh yeah.
Between the, you could go down in the basement too.
Yeah.
You have a basement down there.
Right.
That used to be the bargain basement and the cafeteria.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, so I think there's places they can experiment with, but
right.
Like I say, I'm going to try to get Mr. Buchner on here and maybe get some of his thoughts about whether they're pursuing that,
Yeah.
But you bring up, I think there's a need, but, trying to convince businesses to come downtown, that's a whole different issue.
Yeah, I know that. That's what because you mentioned that before, yeah.
But I always talk to them when I see them. Anytime I see anybody, I think...
but you would have a better chance to talk to them than us.
Yeah, but you know what? When you shop, leave a little comment card or,
Yeah.
if you see the manager, if you know him, say, hey, tell your bosses we'd like to have one downtown,
Yeah.
And maybe they'll look at it, maybe they won't, but
Yeah, right.
the more people that bring it up,
Yeah.
Because, I'm amazed how many people, like the people downtown that live there.
Yeah, people talking about it, but
nothing against.
It's never been done, though.
They're shopping at Lucky's or, there's not many options downtown for them.
Right. Okay, well, I'll leave you go.
Okay, call back later if you want.
All right. Bye.
Yeah, it's the old argument about. Tiny brings up a good point that grocery store downtown. I know, like I've said in the past, the bus company's looking at doing that, and so is the convention center. But those things are hard to get to fruition. Go ahead. Taxpayer Hotline.
Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Okay, I have called 4305 Wayne has multiple bags on the side of their garage since October of building materials. And no one seems to get it cleaned up. Can you have that checked out?
Sure. Now, it's 4305 Wayne, right?
I live at 4315, and I'm tired of looking at it.
And it's 4305.
Yes.
They're building materials in bags, right? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yeah, it's starting to slip again. I took a ride the other day since I come back. Even coming back from church one day, and I'm going, the couches are back, the TV sets are back, it never changes. But I don't blame you. I would get tired of looking at it too.
Well, thank you very much. I would appreciate a call to that department.
Yeah, I'll tell them to look at it. If you want, if it doesn't change, give me a call again, the next show.
Okay, thank you.
But I'll go up there and tell them, thank you. Yeah, it just seems like the garbage is back again, and that's very discomforting. Go ahead, caller.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
Good.
Okay. About 3 weeks ago, a guy called in. He was talking about the 2-bag garbage collection. Well, I know for a fact that a lot of families used to take 3 little white bags and put them in a big black bag, and a lot of times they were putting out like 6 bags of garbage that looked like only 2.
I don't think we have a limit anymore.
No, we don't, which is good, because if we had a 2-bag limit, we would not only have TVs all over the vacant lots, but we'd have extra garbage bags all over the city.
Yeah, you ain't kidding about that.
But what I really want to talk about, and I'll tell you right now, I'm not trying to be funny or anything. This is a recycling question.
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of people go to the store, and they buy a cottage cheese container or a sour cream container.
Right.
And you use the contents up, and when you're ready to throw it out, you look in the bottom, and if there's a recycling insignia, you throw it in the blue bag. Well, I've always noticed the insignia being on the bottom of the container, and then when I go to look on the lid, there's never an insignia on the lid. So I've always thrown the lids in with the regular garbage and just throw the regular container in. And I was just wondering if the people that just see the little insignia on the bottom throw the whole container in, are they doing it the right way, or am I doing it the right way?
That's a good question.
And I've wondered about that for years, and I finally told my wife, I said, I'm going to call in, and I'm going to hang up pretty soon here, and I'd just like to hear what you have to say about it. Maybe the recycling lady will call in, or even some of your viewers, and maybe we can get an answer, because I've been wondering about that for years.
Well, I probably do what you do. I rinse it off and I throw it in there, assuming, and you know what they say about assumptions.
Right.
But, you would think that the whole container would have been cleared,
Yeah, well, that's what I said. They print everything else on the container, the date that it would spoil, and the contents and everything. And I always wondered about if both pieces get thrown in the recycling bag or just the one piece.
I'm going to ask Sarah Galloway. I got to go up after this show. I got to go upstairs, and if she's there, I'm going to ask her, unless she's listening to the show. And I keep telling her I want her to come on the show someday, so people can ask her questions.
Okay, so I'll just leave it at that, and I'll see if she calls in or any of the viewers, and we'll see if we get an answer for that.
I'm like you. I have to ask my wife constantly. I look and I go, I think, when I look at something, I think it's recyclable. Like, these little, like ketchup dispensers you get from McDonald's or someplace?
Yes, even stuff like that. That was another good question, right?
Yeah, I mean, when I go out, if you go to a restaurant, they give you your salad dressing in that, or they give you some extra cheese or something. And I'm always thinking, well, if you wash it and throw it in there, it should be okay,
Yeah.
I don't even, like other things, I get confused about, you look at some things you think should be, and then you find out, well, maybe they're not. And I always err on the side of, just throw it in there and let them sort it out,
Yeah, because it's got to be sorted out anyway, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, I was just wondering about that.
Yeah, it's a good question. I never thought about it, but you're right. They do the bottom, but not the top.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just about on every container we buy. Very seldom is the top container have an insignia on it.
Right. It's like the milk carton. The milk carton itself may be recyclable, but is the lid,
Yeah, right.
But I throw them in anyway thinking, well, it's plastic. It should be.
Okay, Kaz, I'll let you go.
Okay, I'll try to find out the answer for you. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Maybe if Sarah's listening, maybe she'll call in, but I've been trying to get her on the show, and she's kind of busy, but if anybody knows, it'll be Sarah. And, getting back to, we do have a job ahead of us as far as clean up a lot of the trash. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, did you contact the fire inspector about that problem I had?
I must have. What problem? Which one of your many problems?
One on 40th Street, the open burning in the rim.
Oh, I didn't get that one. No, I got to go.
I went by there this morning, and it's no cover. The rim's all rusted up, and he's got a bunch of pieces of wood stacked along his garage.
I left my notes. What was that? That was 40th and
Page.
40th and Page, open burning out.
Yeah, it's on the north or the south east corner.
Yeah, I've been out of town, and I started losing my focus real quick.
Yeah, well, that doesn't take much. I see our buddy Kevin Flowers has a little article in the paper.
Yeah, it must be a slow day. He called me about 2 weeks ago, and then I got a call from 24, and
asking you what you're going to do about it.
Well, no, they said, we heard you're going to shut down these. I said, ooh, where did that come from?
Well, that's like that rag paper.
I explained to him, I said, for the last 3 years we've been talking about little things about where can we get revenue, not a lot of revenue, but rather than raise taxes, what are other communities doing? And this thing is more about, it's not anti-business, because if you watched, the question with Voodoo wasn't so much about the easement, it was about why did they need an easement when they got a side, patio there,
Well, you look at the Sullivans.
Yeah.
You can't get a wheelchair through it when they put up their...
Oh, last time I looked at Sullivan's, it was actually illegal unless they changed it.
Well, I haven't been down that way, but it was the same thing, even with the coffee shop down there on 5th Street.
You mean Starbucks?
Yeah.
Well, I think Starbucks, I believe, John, went through the proper... See, here's what we're supposed to do. We don't charge. Is if you want to do that, then you call the engineering office. They come out and they measure the property. and they determine if there's enough room under ADA to accommodate it. And then they give you the specifications, and then you sign some paperwork, and you also list the city on your insurance plan so that we're not held liable, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because, basically we're allowing businesses to extend into the public right-of-way, and if anything happens, God forbid, but, you could have some fall off the building, you could have somebody walk into one of those things, or any number of issues.
That's true.
And so all we ask is that, hey, you have proper insurance. The city's listed on there, keeping us out of the, and I'm trying to think of the right term, so that we're not held liable. And then, we've looked at it, and it meets the ADA requirements and all that, So over the years, council's talked about maybe we should implement a little fee, since but it's not anti-business. I mean, we haven't said
Permit for the use for the summer or even the fall.
Yeah, because these guys that have these little food wagons, they got to pay,
True.
And if you go to the Commonwealth and you try to get an outdoor beer license, guess what? They don't do it for free.
No.
But it's coming out like we're not anti-business. We didn't block Voodoo. We didn't block a lot of businesses. And I like them. I told a reporter I actually like these things. They just got to make sure that they're properly licensed. I remember when I was controller, I did a little research one time and I reported it to council, but half of them were not even registered. But I guess it's a slow news day.
Well, I saw that. I said, boy, what a witch hunt this is.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to put it on one person, that person being you.
Yeah. Well, I'm president, so guess where it's going to fall?
Well, that's true, but that's beside the point. I've been going around looking at these sewer grates they're putting in.
Yeah. Where, on 38th Street?
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that. My wife had some questions on them, too.
Yeah, what's going to happen with the ADA walk?
Well, my wife brought up a good point. Why are they putting them now before they pave the road, right?
Well, it's a good thing to put in now because they're
Well, I hope they pave the road properly when they do it.
stage the road down the line, but you think that the state engineer would be working along with these guys?
Yeah, I hope they are, because from what I understand, they're going to do 38th and Pine either in the next year or so. Along with some of the improvements they're going to make at the intersections, which we've been, bugging them about for a long time.
Yeah.
So I hope they're all in line. You're right. After we put in all these curb cuts.
Well, go around 38th Street from Pine Avenue all the way up. They're putting the sewer connectors in, and they're putting the grate right next to the ADA ramps.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And what's going to happen? Are they going to pack it with blacktop?
Oh boy, I don't know. I'm holding my breath, John.
It's amazing. It doesn't seem that they know what they're doing.
No, what's scary is, after they're all done, you might find out they didn't know what they were doing.
Well, I hope they do, but the whole thing here is, why do you have to get an out-of-town contractor to come and do that?
Well, that's a state project, so.
And I was told by Mr. Harkins that they were the only ones available for the bid. Because it went out for bid.
Yeah, it's possible. What happens, John, I noticed this over my years with the city. There's only about 2 or 3, people always yell at us, why don't you do this? Local companies. There's only about, in many cases, only 3 local companies that can handle this sometimes,
Well, I don't think local companies want it because of the way the state pays.
That could be the case, because you know what? You have the bidding process, and, if they're busy, if they're busy, and they don't need to work, they're not going to bid, so. And then, like you say, maybe they don't pay the same way we do in the city.
Well, I know when Penelec had their bills, they only paid their bills once a month.
Yeah, and that could be the case.
You need to get the money. You wouldn't get paid for till the following month at the end of the month.
And that's hard, I remember when I was in the private sector and I had to deal with governments, some of these little towns, you had to wait till they had their meeting and everything. And boy, I tell you, if you're a business and you got to wait a month, somebody's got to pay the bills, right?
Got to get that revenue coming in.
Well, yeah, I mean, your bills are still there.
That's true.
Government doesn't understand that. They think, the whole world operates like they do.
Well, I'll tell you what.
See, this is why I explain to people, when we pass a budget, John, it's so that our people can pay bills, legally before it comes. I mean, it still comes before council to okay, but a lot of it is a rubber stamp type of thing because we've already authorized utility payments. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, we know the workers got to get paid every week, on an alternate schedule. We know that utilities are coming in. We know this, and we can't wait till we have a council meeting to, that's why we okay it through the budget process.
That's true.
But anything big, that's extraneous, that has to come before us. But that's why, the controller will monitor like utility bills, and as long as there's money in the account and it's been authorized, by council, and there's nothing abnormal, then we got to pay those bills. Otherwise, we get penalties like anybody else.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's why sometimes you wonder why it takes the Commonwealth, a month to pay that stuff.
That's true. It's the same thing there, But you're talking about mattresses and couches. I talked to Rob this morning.
Yeah, it's getting bad again.
Well, just like I explained to him, it's not the new kids coming in. It's the old kids going out, and the landlord not checking what they're putting out.
No, I mean, the other day I went by before I left on my trip, there were those six houses at the top of my hill. Mm-hmm. Not only did they throw the garbage out, which would have been nice if they had thrown on the front lawn, but they blocked the sidewalk.
Yeah, there's no sidewalk up here.
Yeah, I don't know what gets into. I have never seen such a lack. What's the proper word, John?
I don't know.
Besides common sense, I mean,
it's not.
Just good manners. I mean, why would you block a sidewalk?
It's the kids throwing it out because they want to get out of there in a hurry.
Yeah, nobody walks a sidewalk, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. But the whole thing here is, the kids don't know this, or you think they would know it, but the landlord is the one and should be held responsible.
Well, you know what the problem is? When you and I were growing up, usually the landlords either lived in the house or they lived down the street.
Yeah, or else they checked constantly.
Right, now we got professional landlords
that live outside the city.
Yep, they got so many properties they don't have time to check on them. And that's what you get. You get...
but don't they go and check for damage and everything before the kids leave?
Sometimes you wonder. I mean, I imagine they do. Some of the better ones, I think, do, but some of the other ones, they figure, oh, well, just when the house gets... Somebody pointed out something to me. A prominent landlord is now dumping some of his property on East 38th.
Yeah.
And it's probably because it's outlived its usefulness. He got his money out of it through rent, and it's probably now getting to the point that he doesn't want to do the maintenance.
Could be.
So he'll flip it. It's kind of like what they do at malls. After a mall gets so old, the original owner will flip it because it's, he doesn't want to be there when the electric goes bad and the plumbing starts going,
True.
He's already made his money. He's got, a profit out of there. Let somebody else worry about it.
Yeah, we got to find a way to handle all this. I mean, there's got to be a way to take care of this in the writing of it and the renting of it and the whole works. So,
well, we're not very, it's a whole new world, and I think we got to be more aggressive.
That's true.
Because, when you deal with renters, not every renter's bad or every landlord, but, man, it only takes a few to change a whole flow of the city real quick.
It does, just like GE now saying they got that wonderful deal. At least the newspaper thinks it's a wonderful deal.
What deal was that, John? I missed that one.
1,000 locomotives.
In being for Erie?
No, there's about 100 or so for Erie.
And the rest in Texas, right?
And no, it's going to India.
Oh, that new Indian plant, huh?
Yeah. I mean, that's got to stop somewhere. I hope that new president we have gets on GE and straightens them out.
Well, it's been happening. People say the $1 million question is they come up to like councilmen or the mayor and they go, "What are you going to do to bring jobs here?" You know what? We don't bring jobs.
The city doesn't bring jobs.
Nope.
The county doesn't bring jobs. Entrepreneurs come in, and they should have the backing of the chamber.
And the only thing that we can do is we can put the incentives out there, the tax incentives and stuff like that. But when you look at a state like Texas, they're willing to throw more incentives than we are. And then if you really get to the bottom of it, you know what the real issue is, John.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about.
Right. It's the corporate tax.
That and also the labor issue.
That is true.
They don't like Pennsylvania's labor climate to them.
No, they don't.
And so I guess it comes down to do you want to work at $15 an hour or do you want to work at $30 an hour? And that's in GE's mind, they're going to go where they can, the ball's in their court.
That's true. I remember when the minimum wage when I was working was $2.25 an hour.
Yep. Well, it wasn't too long ago.
No, back in the 60s.
Yep, I remember. Yeah, it was $1.25, then it was $2 something.
$2.50 or $2.25, then went up to $2.50.
Want a shocker, John? My tuition again was $1,000 a year.
You want a bigger shock?
What?
When I went to Edinburgh, it was state college then. It was $300 and some a year.
Well, that's about right for Edinburgh.
And since I was a football player, I got a place to work. But no, it was only $300 a year.
Wow, yeah, and that's a state school, so you figure again it would have been 2 to 3 times higher than that.
Oh, yes.
But they didn't have accounting at Edinburgh, so otherwise I think I would have held the field goal record at Edinburgh.
You might have.
If they'd had accounting there, I'd have probably gone to Edinburgh.
Yeah, but you had one other big problem.
What's that?
You can't write notes on your black tape.
Oh, that's Lenny. Yeah, Lenny was the first one to. I used to tell a joke about my old cohort, Lenny LaCastro.
Yeah.
He invented the quarterback's wristband.
Yeah.
Only was electrical tape and he had a black pen, right?
Yes. Well, that was just like when we were playing, we weren't allowed to wear high tops.
Hey, John, I hear you joined my club now.
Yeah.
You got no high school like me.
Yeah. But
you couldn't wear high tops?
Oh, we used white tape.
Oh.
And Detzel used to get kind of hot because he wanted to know where all the white tape was going. We got tape, but then we took the tape and wrapped it around our high tops to make it look like we had load cuts.
Well, the tape was good. Like it also impressed the ladies, thinking you were hurt. Oh
yeah. So Freddie did the same thing all the time too.
With the tape?
Yep. Then after a while, but I didn't have any problem getting kangaroo cleats from the Fazio boys.
Really?
Yeah, the coach that day, he's was BB, and we just go down and sign the invoice and get the.
Some of your pictures are making the internet, I heard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think your sister had something to do with that too.
I don't recall.
You were a handsome devil. I didn't know that, John.
Yeah, you saw me in my outfit?
Well, I was impressed. I said.
Yeah. I had a lot of hair in those days. So we'll let somebody else get in here.
Yeah, let's hope they do 38th Street right, but.
Let's hope so. But you got to go talk to the inspector.
Yep, and I got to come on and see you sometime.
I am here.
It's been a while. I get up in your neighborhood, but usually your car's not there.
It's always parked in the garage most of the time.
Oh, you got a garage. I'm sorry.
So we don't want birds dropping their mess on it.
There you go.
I'll talk to you later.
See you, John. Hey, you brought up a good point about the news article about, nobody's anti-merchant. We're just saying we want to look at regulating them and hoping that they're done properly. We also got coming up on the council agenda, we got the urban garden issue. My feeling is I don't think there's any opposition to it. It'll actually kind of help. I never thought I'd see a day when we were encouraging a return to kind of like the rural setting, but dealing with the blight issue and some of the properties that are sitting there unattended and undeveloped, the concept of an urban garden or a market garden, one being more of the market concept being more about selling the goods, whereas the urban concept is more for personal use or distribution. It's not a bad idea if it helps to develop some of this vacant property. The sisters on 18th Street, Sister St. Joseph, have been doing this for a few years, and if you take a ride along 18th Street and you look at some of the vacant lots, they've actually done a pretty good job on them, and I have to admit that it's a lot better than looking at empty filled with trash. Of course, now that the sisters are coming on the east side of town, it's going to take everybody cooperating together to make this concept work. And I think in the long run, I think if we start taking our baby steps, everybody I know wants to, if you read the papers, we have to implement the plan right away and the comprehensive plan, and it's going to take a while, and these are initial baby steps, the land bank, the urban gardens. It's all necessary things to get the process moving. Then, of course, we'll have our public input sector, and from there, I think you'll start to see things move, but nobody has a magic wand. We're not going to be able to change 30 or 40 years of the city going slowly downhill from population loss and economic loss. I mean, it's not going to happen overnight, but all of us working together, I think we can gradually bring it back slowly, and hopefully once people see things positively turning around, it's amazing how things will speed up on their own. And let's hope, because right now, as you look at the landscape, no one can deny we got blight issues, we got garbage and all that, and it's a blight on those other parts that are trying to change and turn around, such as downtown, as the waterfront, as some of the neighborhoods like 18th Street even. It's been a vast change since the Sisters and Wally Brown and the Neighborhood Watch have worked on that section, and I look forward to them doing the same thing on the east side. And, working with people like Father Jerry and his group, I think these are the things that will help in the long run. So, hang in there and let's hope. And, we got a lot of hard work ahead of us, but I think it's going to work. And so, at this point in time, I'm going to vote in favor of the urban garden and the market garden concept. And hopefully we'll start to see the fruition of that. And outside of that, if you're riding around town, you notice there's a lot of construction going on, which is good. And it also brings with it some challenges, but such as the east side of town, Pine Avenue 38, they seem to be gearing up for a major repaving project, and if the rumors are true, there's going to be some changes to the intersections that have long been pushed by Councilman Mursky and myself, that we've been hoping that they would take our suggestions to heart, and I think from what I understand, you're gonna start seeing some of those changes in the next year or so as they finish their projects along that street. Once again, summer's gearing up, and with it are numerous festivals and various other things. And like some people pointed out earlier about they would like to see grocery stores in Erie and stuff. We all can be ambassadors. We should all, wherever we do our business, be it restaurants, be it grocery stores, when we get the opportunity, we should always ask them, why don't you have one in my neighborhood, or what would it take to do that? Because, a lot of times businesses used to, in the old days, have survey cards. They still do sometimes, like, where do you live? And that's for a purpose about determining whether there is a need to, put them in their neighborhood. But we could all, in Erie, we could use a shot in the arm. We could use another grocery store. When I moved into my neighborhood, I'm trying to remember now, but if memory serves me well, there were at least 3 or 4 in my immediate vicinity, and now we're down to really 1 in the same area that I used to remember. But and if he expanded the zone a little bit, there probably was like 6 or 7, and so I tell people, not only do you complain to us as government leaders, but also, drop a line to your favorite business and just say, hey, would you consider? And hopefully, that'll happen, because we do need grocery stores. There is a need downtown. I definitely know that. And where I live, since the demise of Kmart, the questions I keep getting from my neighbors and other people is, what are you doing to get something in there? Well, unfortunately, you can hope something's going to come in there, but if you look at the national economy, the chances of another Kmart or anything like that coming in there are probably diminishing rapidly, as our culture in this country seems to be changing. We buy a lot on internet, and because of that, the brick and mortar stores seem to suffer. Kmart itself and Sears, if you read the newspapers, were in trouble. And what happened was Erie, which is one of the few communities that still have quite a few Kmarts, had room to give up one, and unfortunately it was in my neighborhood. So, you hope that, some will come in there, but at the end of the day, it's really up to, business to determine what they think they can, push there. But I do believe, if I have one complaint about economic development as a whole, we have so many people out there working for it, but we don't speak with one voice a lot of times. Everybody's got their own little agenda, and I think what we need is one voice. We could have a series of people saying that, but we need to go out there with a plan, like what do we want to bring to Erie, and where does it need it? Everybody in the world wants to build up in Peach Street, and that's fine, but there are a lot of neighborhoods, like where I live or you live, that could use a little economic recovery, could use another store, could use something. And that's why I think, when you look around, you get a little discouraged, but it's great when you see a new business open up, whatever it be. And that's what we all need to do, is kind of, it's the ball's in our court. If we want something, we have to demand it from business, and hopefully if there's enough demand, they will come. And that'll take care of my speech on that. But getting back to, like I say, the urban garden will be a hot issue this week. And we also got the community college, if you want to weigh in on that. That issue is going to kind of come before county council and other government groups for support. If you have an opinion on it, certainly feel free to call. We're glad to hear your opinion. And one thing I like about traveling, because my kids live out of town, I do a lot of it. You get some nice ideas, and a lot of times you can't implement them all in your hometown, but you certainly can take some of the ideas and kind of run with them a little bit. And the one thing I see that we're kind of lacking, kind of like downtown, is I would love to see a little bit more public access in a way that you could have a road where we could have some novel ideas, like more use of it. It comes down to the width of the streets a lot of times, but so many of these towns, they had ideas like horse rides, or they had pedal pubs. And go ahead, caller.
Afternoon, Cass.
How you doing?
Are they going to be doing something with East Avenue? When did they put that junk on top?
Where, at East Avenue?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I didn't. I should have looked at the list. But you're talking about the stretch from Holy Rosary to 38th?
Oh, yeah, 32nd to 38th.
Yeah, you're talking about. I got to check on that for you.
I haven't seen the list in the newspaper.
It's on the internet for sure. Do you have a computer? Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, do you have a computer at home?
I don't.
Oh, because it's probably on the city website. I'll check the list. East 32nd to East 38th on East Avenue.
Right.
And
I get tired of cleaning my lawn off between the sidewalk and the curb, because it keeps peeling up, and the plows come by and they plow on my grass.
yeah, it's a.
Might go something.
I don't go to church down there right now because my church is meeting at St. John's right now, so I don't get to go down East Avenue like I do in the fall more. But I got to take a ride down there. I'll take a look at that, because that's right down the street from my house.
Yeah, I know where you live.
That's where the plows, you said, destroyed like the grass and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I hope they do. From what I am told, though, 38th Street's going to be tackled this year or early next. So hang on, right?
Last year on East Avenue, they did all the curb cuts for the handicap ramps.
Right.
When they got done, they put the rough finish to fill it in when they cut it out into the street. Now it looks like crap, because it's not the smooth asphalt finish that they do when they do a street.
Right.
How they do the one coat and they do the next second coat. Every corner they have the rough asphalt on every four corners all the way up the street. They never put the finished coat on it.
I wish I could tell you what they were doing, but I don't. But it seems like those handicap ramps, they just never did them right.
Well, I called Doug Mitchell one day and I talked to him personally. He said he was going to look into it, but I don't see no fixing them up or anything.
You already talked to Doug, right?
Yep.
I have to go up and talk to him and see.
That was last year.
I got to take a ride by there, and I should meet you up there sometime.
Yeah. Okay, Ted, that's all I have to.
Do I have your address? So you can call me. Call me at home. Give me your address,
Huh?
and I'll come up and meet you there.
Okay. Do that.
We can take a walk, because that's a.
I don't think I'll be able to walk, though.
Well, you just tell me where you are, and I'll walk. Okay.
Okay.
But I'll take a look at it. I'll meet you there at some, any morning or any afternoon. I'm free, which is almost every day. So.
Okay, that's good.
But hang in there with the. Hopefully. Yeah, that project was. It was a good experiment, but long term, I think East Avenue's got we probably got to do something big on that one.
The day I moved in, they were up on 35th Street, digging the street out, and I had to pay for the street.
Why is that?
That's when they charged each homeowner.
Oh, you mean way back?
But that was 1959.
Whoa, wow. I was living on the west side then. What did they do? Did they what was it before? Do you remember?
Cement.
It always was cement, right?
Yep.
And then what did they do in 59? They dug it up again and put new cement?
No. It was dirt when I moved in.
Oh, it was dirt when you moved in?
Yes.
So then what they did was like tar and chip, you mean?
No. Well, no, it was just dirt road, that's all.
Oh, so then they put that concrete base in there.
Yeah, they dug it up and put about 6 inches of concrete.
Was that like it feels like you're on pads. Was it like different sections?
No, that's the way it all settled. Well, then when they dug the street up to put the sewer in, they went down the middle of the road. That screwed everything up.
I can remember on the west side of town, going back to 59, above 32nd Street, there was mostly dirt roads too. It just seemed like way back in the 50s, they didn't do it properly.
You know, if Mara was alive, he could back me up on this. On the corner of 38th and Old French Road, right by the Vets Hospital, on the corner, right by Value Home Center,
right,
had a sign that said experimental asphalt.
Yeah, I remember you tell me that.
I never know what happened after that.
Too bad Mario's not around. He was a wealth of knowledge.
Yep. Because I'm 85 years old. I remember that.
God bless you, though.
Yeah, I'm having problems here and there, but
you know what the trouble is when you get our age, and I'm not, I'm a little younger than you, but you've seen so much in your time that nothing impresses you anymore.
no.
You've seen so much that what can you do, right?
Okay, Kaz. Nice talking to you.
Hey, you too.
Take care.
Sid. So here we go, and 5 minutes. You got to be kidding. Where'd the time go? I just seen a gentleman come in. Maybe he'll come on with us, but we got 5 minutes left in the show, so if you want to get your call in, go ahead. Here we go. Go ahead. Taxpayer Hotline.
Okay, hold on. I'm turning down my volume. Turn this down, don't. Oh, okay. It's down. You got me?
You can come on.
Have me on?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I just paid my water bill.
Uh-oh. You're not going to get mad at me about that, are you?
No, but I'm looking at it, and this is some bank in was such a call, Maine.
Yeah. You want to know why we do that, right?
Yeah, whose brother-in-law runs that?
Well, no. You know, here's the thing. Now, we got yelled at on the pension plan, and what they do, and so does the city, like the treasurer's office. When we farm it out, we take bids, and whoever has the lowest bid gets it. And a lot of times, local banks don't bid on it, or if they do, they're not in line. You try to keep it local, but at the end of the day, you gotta get what's best deal for the taxpayers.
Yeah, then I'll get the envelopes with $100 bills or whatever.
But yeah, that's what happens. They try to get different banks interested. Whoever has the best deal gets the business.
Okay, this new election.
Yeah.
This new election. I can't understand why the citizens of Erie can't put somebody young enough. You gotta Simber. Yeah, he's a super guy, upstate or whatever. Why couldn't we have somebody, a young person, start?
Well, you have to look at the low turnout, which was one factor, and a lot of people don't have the finances to run. I know, I thought about it myself, but at the end of the day, I decided, raising that kind of money or trying that is, it was not in the cards. And I think that's the problem you got.
This guy is 66 years old.
Well, don't get mad 66 now. That's my age.
Well, you shouldn't have run either.
Why?
I mean, why don't you let some young people come in?
You know what? They don't...
Yourself.
The young people, it's out there, but, they got to get active in politics. They got to run for the office. They got to take, and right now, I mean, look at the turnout. That was an embarrassment to everybody, I think.
There's been a turnout in the last 3 years.
I know. I mean, that's embarrassing. So I don't think people are interested in a lot of things. Running for office, or you see a few running, but I mean,
this guy. I mean, he's a super gentleman. Yeah. Oh my God, upscale. I think he's got to be close to a millionaire. If he isn't, I don't know why. But 66 years old. I know his grandfather was Flatley's whatever. But I can't believe it. I mean, and what angers me is this. You still there?
Yeah.
Jones, Witherspoon. What's with Brennan? What angered Brennan? He something happened there, and he didn't get what he wanted. He wanted to run for mayor,
Yeah.
Remember early on, somebody stepped on his toes or whatever. So now we got 3 black people actually that what's his name is Schimmer's going to have to answer to.
Well, everybody's got their own opinion in the world, but hey, thank you for calling, though.
Yeah, but okay, guys.
Yep.
But I like you. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, don't hold my age against me, though, please.
Right. Okay, guys.
It took me a long time to get to where I thought I was okay, But thank you for calling, okay?
Okay.
Hey, John, I got to get you on the show sometime.
I know. Well, that's what we live still?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, for sure. We'll definitely schedule a time. And
the biggest question that I just had from a gentleman.
Okay.
And I said, I even mentioned your name. I said, I got to talk to you and get you on the show. Sure enough, you show up, which is good. Talking about a grocery store. And I said, I explained to them about the EMTA, and I explained to them about the GF site. But I said, it's up to people like you, I said. You gotta, wherever you shop, you gotta ask them, why don't you have one downtown? I said, talk to people like you, John, and us. Right. But at the end of the day, you have to convince business to come in here. I think there's a need.
Oh, there's definitely a need. I mean,
and he pointed out different sites, and I go, well, that's,
The challenge groups like us have is we don't own that site.
Right.
We don't control it. The food hub project that we are looking to develop, and I was just literally reading on email.
Right.
We have an opportunity. We've had it for the last year. We got a little delayed with the situation with the EMTA, but in their brand new facility, we have 19,000 square feet of
You're talking about the EMTA?
The new facility.
Yeah.
That's on 14th Street between right off of French. It's our goal is to put a market in there.
Well, with the parking lot probably on top.
Yeah. Well,
it reminds me of the old Broadway market in Buffalo a little bit.
Every community, we've studied, I don't know how many communities, we've visited many communities where we physically drove. We went to Cleveland, we went to Pittsburgh, I went to Harrisburg, I went down to Lancaster. We've been to these markets, and they said with this project, we've solved the 2 key problems. First and foremost, it has to be on a bus line. Mm-hmm. Secondly, it has to involve public parking. So the opportunity we have now is in the new EMT facility that's being built. The very bottom floor is the market. The very next level up is public parking of 100 spaces.
Reminds me of the old Broadway in Buffalo.
Decks 2 and 3 are for EMTA use, and then for when they're not using them, it's open for other public use.
Like on the weekend or
Like
something?
on the weekends, exactly. So
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. He said, I told this gentleman, I said, it's one thing to pick out sites, but you have to business has to say,
business has to say,
can I operate in there?
can they make money there? I mean, we know that there's a need, and we've seen this, we've experienced this in our neighborhoods now. You have some markets or operators that have been there, but the maintenance and upkeep of a facility, even if by chance the operators are young or old, it's just like any business. There has to be reinvestment back within that business. So the coolers have to be new, the facility has to be new. Even when we sat down with the folks that do the Cleveland market, the city of Cleveland actually owns that market, but it's challenged with the constant upkeep and the revenue it takes when the coolers break, when the air conditioning breaks, make it comforting to their people that visit that. So,
See, Roanoke is an interesting one.
I've not been to that one yet.
I have family who lives there, but what they did was they took an old market house and they made that a food court.
Right.
And then surrounding that, there's square-like. And when we did the Children's Museum, we kind of took that from them. The circle and the square, they called theirs. But around there, they had all these, a permanent, now they got the weather, though.
Right.
So they had a permanent farmer's market where, like, between poles on the sidewalk, they had, like, counters. So you could buy outside or you could buy inside, But it was a nice thing about, you're right, John, they had parking, they had everything, so took care of the food problem.
Yeah, well, this market, the other unique opportunity we have is it's a year-round enclosed market.
Which we need here.
I mean, there's areas that people can pull up and go in for 15 minutes, or literally go in the ramp and go down the elevator and get on the steps and shop all you want. But it's year-round enclosed. It's not just seasonal. There are sketches for along 14th Street that you can have the outside aspect to it. So there's been these plans, and literally met with this group again last week about we had a grant opportunity, and some of that opportunity went away. But what we're trying to look to do is what opportunity still remains on this grant is to literally finish the design of this and to do some outreach to a anchor tenant. I'll say like a country fair or something like that. Because you have something that's a draw, a coffee shop, and then you build the market around it. We have some independent grocers that we've already talked to that want to be part of it and kept abreast of it, but you have to have the facility to develop it around.
And I think that's because so many people, as they say, why aren't they moving there? And I go, well, sometimes they don't want to take over an old building.
Right. Buildings are just like your homes. There's a lot of maintenance requirements and a lot of money to.
People ask me, like, what are you going to do at Kmart up there in Grandview? I'm going, well, it's a maintenance issue, too.
Oh, absolutely. There's another area within our downtown that has some potential, but again, we don't own that property. It's not about ownership, but it's working with an owner who is willing to develop that property.
Unless the city's willing to.
Yeah, in this case, the EMTA is the one that we approach them and ask them what are they going to do with that base floor? Could we have this? It's a great partnership. The redevelopment authority is there with their funds that are doing that first deck is public parking. So you have this collaboration between the Erie Metropolitan Transit Authority, the Erie Redevelopment Authority, the Erie Downtown Partnership. The City of Erie has been supportive of it. This administration, including City Council, have said we can't develop this fast enough. So
no, that's maybe someday we'll have to buy the buildings actually physically.
That's something that we got to look at.
I've always said about Erie, we're not willing to go the painful next step, which is controlling when I just come back from Minneapolis, and you look at what they did. The city bought they're putting arts in these buildings or something, but at the end of the day they control. But you have to be willing to, like you say, take on the maintenance too.
It's the sustainability like anything. Our organization has had great success in receiving, some grants to do some great things. But those are the grant. You just can't have that as the one-time use. There's also the maintenance and sustainability of it. And we had some good banners. But I know we're wrapping up, but we'll talk about this.
So don't believe what you read in the paper either. I'm not anti-business.
Oh no.
We just want to register.
Well, we want to find that right balance. You said it right, Kaz. For businesses to be interested, they have to make money. It's as simple. There's nothing wrong with that. But the only way they can make money is we got to support them.
Right.
And if we have them downtown, we need to support our businesses. If we have them in our neighborhoods, we need to support
But I
our
tell
businesses.
people, if you want business, you got to actually. I tell people, I'm not shopping at your store because you don't have one in my area. And I'll go that far to tell them.
And I get today's society, we have a lot of online. But what brick and mortar stores that we do have, we need to recognize that.
Well, sure, because somebody's got to work.
But we've always said, through our organization and working with the universities, Gannon has a small business development center. You got Ben Franklin Technology, these other groups, but these are the ones that are helping get these businesses started from an organizational standpoint. But it's consumers like me and you and others.
We got to use them.
Got to use them. If not, we lose them. You don't give them that chance. But they are the ones that literally support our local baseball teams. They're the ones that buy our yearbook ads. They're the ones that help me help the community. But because their tax base, their money stays here, and that tax base is what paves the streets and gets the new sidewalks.
I tell people all the time.
So when that headquarter isn't here, when that business, I know we're preaching to the choir, but we've always got to remind ourselves, if we can. And we have a lot of owners that are very competitive from a pricing standpoint. Their service is there, their pricing is there. Just need to support that. So, good conversation, though.
You too. Now, hey, you're welcome anytime.
Thank you, Cass. Thank you.
And with that, Mike, you can take us off. Yeah, I'll have you on some.
Yeah. I keep forgetting to email you and say, do you want to...
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching the Taxpayers Hotline Show on Erie's own Government Access, Channel 9.